Okay, let's start, everyone. Welcome to the sixth ICIR, and now sixth ICIR 2024, and this is the ONEL panel second, entitled "Performing Democracy Through Art." So, democracy is an art for me. The art of expressing opinions that was born 100 years ago and then developed into various regions and is now adopted by various countries in the world. However, as an art of expressing opinions, democracy that is happening today, yeah, at least in my country, in our country, is an art that restrains. It's not make us freedom. It restrain us and become a monopoly of only few people. Therefore, we need to explore or reinterpret or find a new forms of performing democracy. And an art, whatever it's from an expressions, is one of the paths and spaces that for such search. So for the next 1.5 hours together with four wonderful, may I say, cross-continent speakers, and thanks for the internet, we will explore and engage this cutting-edge issue with, first we have Emma Mihan. Say hi, Emma.
Hello, hi.
Hello. Hi. So Emma is from Center for Dance Research, Coventry University. And welcome back to ICIR.
Thank
After last
you.
year, we have a great time in ICIR fifth in Solo. And then Emma will explore about dance and democracy. After that, we have the quartet researcher. So this the group of researcher. And now we have who will present will be Muhammad Raka, Mas Raka.
Halo,
Mas Raka will be together with Rian Lesmana, Mbak Indah Hapsari, Ahmad Solikin Ardiansyah, and also, yeah, that's for. And we'll explore through the form of music and poetry. And then the third, we have, wait, okay. And the third, we have Kakak Jacqueline Clara Bakarbesi. Are you there, Kakak Clara? Not yet, okay. So Kakak Clara is not here yet. And the last but not least, we have Mbak Dian from Sultan Fatah University and the leader of Hafsa Institute. We're exploring the architecture as an art of constructing social environment. So before we come into the stage and I give you the spotlight, I want to inform you that the knick-knack for this panel. So each of presenter will have 15 minutes presentation and 30 minutes discussion. And I will start to give a notice through Zoom meetings, through Zoom message when you have 5 minutes left for your presentation. So, and please elaborate each other theme and works during discussions. So without further ado, the first stage will be for Emma, and then Raka, and then Jack, and then Mbak Dian. Okay, many thanks. So please, Emma, it's
Okay,
yours
thank
now.
you. Thanks, Abdi. Okay, I will try sharing my screen. Let's see. So we go slideshow, play from the start. Okay, can you see it? Yes. Okay, that's good. I'll start my own little timer here. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed your introduction there, and I hope that what I'm going to share today will connect with that from the perspective of dance. So when I saw the call about performing democracy, I really wanted the opportunity to share a perspective from dance, because this is an area that's written quite a bit about in dance research about how embodiment is political and how it enacts democracy in different ways. But I think dance research might understand democracy different from other disciplines. So I'm really curious about that. So I just wanted to start by sharing some ways in which people describe their own dance work as democratic. And often it's about the aesthetic or formal qualities or the way in which the dance is made. So, for example, Daly talks about modern dance as a genre that sought to make itself or describe itself as democratic in response to the perceived elitism of European ballet. So you'll see in the left side, there's a picture of modern dance. So instead of this kind of constrained and on the stage and performing manners aspect of ballet, you have people barefoot out in nature in free-flowing clothes, freely expressing emotions. So they were understanding that as more democratic. And then much later in the 60s, this idea of postmodern dance as being democratic was explored. So you'll see on the right side a picture of postmodern dance, which used more like everyday movement. So you didn't need to have a particular dance technique, but in fact, anyone could participate in standing, rolling, running. And so these kind of brought up different ideas of what might be democratic in dance. So a big kind of part of these ideas of democracy in dance are actually about social equality and inclusivity. So, for example, is it presented on a stage, which is only accessible to some people, or is it in a public space, in a public square, and so on? Can the audience access it? Is it free to attend? Can they walk through? Can they join in? Some dance forms that describe themselves as democratic focus on the facilitator. So rather than a choreographer who decides, like this autocratic leader who says, this is the movement we will follow, instead, there's a facilitator who prompts movement, who makes suggestions, and then you can choose how to move differently within that structure. And then there's kind of inclusive styles of movement. So in contrast with ballet, there's very specific training you might need to undertake. Whereas, see, the image I have here is of a kind of movement event in Brazil. And there were very simple gestures for you to join in, like raising your arms. So these are kind of the ways in which some dance practices have been describing themselves as more democratic than other forms. Of course, this has been critiqued. For example, Sally Baines, you talked about democracy's body in postmodern dance. In general, it was mostly white practitioners in New York. So how is that inclusive? And so Järväinen talks about, this focus on the form. So everyday movement or compositional practices rather than any kind of social, like dealing with social injustice. And often the word democracy in dance is used to say, well, we're better than some other dance form. So in the case of postmodern dance, saying, oh, well, we're more democratic and more advanced than other dance styles. So that's kind of something to be wary about. And then Järväinen also talks about this issue, between who is the majority and who's featuring in a work versus social equality. And this is another author also who talks about the contrast between this hope for freedom, openness, and inclusion, and then a selective democracy that excludes some people. This made me think a little bit about how democracy is understood in dance. And, there's so many different types of democracy. So I thought this particular article was quite interesting by Erkan et al. Because they're actually democracy researchers, but talking about non-verbal performance and usually of protest in public spaces. So they talk about democracy not so much as an institutional arrangement like a governmental approach, but more as a practice that takes place in different spaces and enables people to express plural views and diverse identities. And then they go through various different kinds of democracy, ranging from ones that focus more on finding common ground to ones that are more focused on conflict, and using image, sound, and embodied presence to explore these things. So I'm kind of quite interested in this idea of common ground, commonality, and how that allows for difference. So that's kind of a theme that I want to pursue a little bit further. This author, Don Hanlon Johnson, I find his work really interesting. So he writes in particular about certain kinds of dance, which are called somatic practices. And these practices are not so much focused on the visual appearance of the movement or the dance, but about how they're experienced from the inside. But even still, he tracked historically how these somatic practices sometimes have ideals that then people try to adhere to. So he tried to break that down a little bit, and explore how we can find our individual body while also being in a shared space. So I have some images there of a somatic conference that we held in Coventry. So, people are given prompts and they explore their own movement and their own expression, but they're still in a shared space together. And Don Hanlon Johnson talks about this idea of consensus as meaning sensing together. So I really liked that idea that it's actually, okay, we're all different, but we're somehow sharing a breathing, feeling, hearing, moving. So we maybe have conflicting beliefs, but we're somehow in a shared space together. But of course, there are problems with consensus in dance. There are dance forms where consensus is complete. So it's like everyone must do the same movement in the same rhythm. And this is kind of embodying this ideal of we are all together, all the same, and we must be one. And Kant critiques that, that this kind of movement can be used as an ideological weapon. And it means that people must identify totally with an aesthetic concept as a guiding principle to conduct one's life. And Kant talks about Wigmann's large group dance works in Nazi Germany. So there's no place for individuality, that we all must conform. And the forms that we take somehow have these nationalistic ideals in them. So I just wanted to switch to Indonesia. So the last 2 years, I did a little bit of research in Indonesia. And, like everywhere, there's like dance forms that kind of embody national ideals. And Brockler talks about under Suharto's New Order that there were kind of authorized versions of artistic expression that were to match the government's aesthetic and national ideals. And Larasati talks about the disappearance of dancers during the New Order era. And I find this quite interesting because there's a kind of two things going on. One is that, the removal of the subversive element of dance and the potential for undoing and pushing the edges, while also using dance to then actually portray a national ideal. Okay, that's good. I'm in time. So my research was mainly based around Omerta movement. So I don't know if people here are very familiar with that. But the person who developed Omerta movement is Suprato Sariadamo, who you can see in the picture there, and he's in Coventry leading a movement session. And the research was really about this idea of dialogue. So how can dialogue happen through movement? And this was something that was very important to Prapto. And his movement approach was very much about creating an inclusive environment, welcoming of people of different backgrounds, different nationalities, religions, ages. So he would give prompts and ideas and stimulus for movement, and then everyone could respond in their own way. But he was also it was very important to him that we were in a shared environment, often in public spaces, attuned to the environment around us, to the other people. So somehow we're connected and maybe sensing together, but we're also finding our own place as individuals within that. So in terms of this idea of democracy, I was thinking, okay, I wonder how a Omerta movement fits with that. And I think this idea of dialogic leadership and facilitation was very important to Propto, from the interviews that I did. So we talked with, I think, 7 Omerta movement practitioners in Java and Bali, myself and Samsul Marif. And we went and we moved with people and we interviewed them and tried to understand these practices. Thank you. Yeah, I'm aware of time. So in terms of accessible movement, that is definitely something that Propto is exploring. People came from they were not all dancers. And public space is quite important to Propto. So we might practice in temples, the marketplace, and how we relate to those spaces and what we might contribute to them. The audience might be walking through, just passing by, looking in. They don't have to participate, but often there's a segment of the event which invites people who are audience in. In terms of nationalism, I think that Propto's Javanese heritage was actually very important to him and informed his practice, but actually it was in continual dialogue. So instead of it being something fixed, it was something that he was trying to bring alive through the practice. So he worked with people from all around Indonesia, from different parts of the world. So bringing his cultural heritage in contact with others. I did have to ask if there's an ideology behind this practice. And I do think there's a way of being in the world that Propto is interested in, and having shared values of things like tolerance. So one of the people we interviewed talked about rhetoric, and I think it's really interesting because I do think by just doing this practice in a public space, there's an artistic rhetoric to share the values and somehow attract people in. But again, it's always in dialogue. So it's not like a fixed ideology that we must do it this way. But, what about this? We have this value. What do you think? So navigating that. Propto did say to me that he wanted to focus more on peace than in conflict. So I think common ground was quite important to him. And this idea of just being together with all of our differences. So his approach to dialogue was anti-authoritarian, relational, and for mutual transformation. I do think the consensus was about sensing together. In particular, I think something new that I experienced was about how practical create an atmosphere of awareness of being together, which I'm trying to write about, and I hope that I can share a bit more at another time. This idea of being in a shared community of movers while also allowing freedom of difference and serving your community as a common purpose. So I know I'm at 15 minutes, but just to say this, serving your community, you're supposed to, I think, in the practice, reflect on your own self, but also your role in your community and how you can serve that community. So I kind of end with a list of questions I now am asking myself about how might dance be genuinely democratic. And so that's how I'm going to finish up. So thank you very much. I'll stop sharing.
Thank you very much. I think you still have 1 minute, but
oh, I do. Oh, great. Well, I will then
something.
share the last Okay, so now when I'm questioning democracy in dance, I'm thinking about who is represented and how people participate. Do they have a vote? Who's leading? Who has authorship? The spaces it takes place in, how audience might participate, how accessible is the movement, what function the performance and practice has in relation to its social context, that it's not just aesthetic, but actually how's it responding to that environment, the role of difference, the sensory and relational aspects, and how consensus and conflict is explored. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Sharp on time. Yeah, after Emma talks about and she said that the consensus as a way of sensing together. And in the next presentation, we have the practice of sensing together through music and poetry, and it becomes a way for advocacy. So please, Mas Raka, tell us your story and your group story about this, please.
Okay, I will present together with Ryan. So we will also show the music video that we have made. Okay, hello, good afternoon. I'm Raka from CRCS, Center for Religious and Cross-Cultural Studies at Universitas Gadjah Mada. So I'm presenting the research titled Reclaiming Sacred Spaces, Collaborative Advocacy for Huria Kristen Indonesia Bandung Selatan Through Art and Dialogue. So this study was conducted with my colleagues, Rian from Universitas Katolik Parahyangan, Indah Haspari, and Ahmad Solihin from Religious Studies of UIN Sunan Gunung Jati Bandung. So for you to know about the context of our research, Indonesia is known by the national motto of Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. But despite of that, there are 329 incidents of religious freedoms that involves were reported like many involving church closures. And Huria Kristen Indonesia Bandung Selatan is also one of them. The church has been banned due to the religious building permit since 2012. So from this research, we explore how collaborative approach involving art and dialogue can empower the community in reclaiming their sacred space. In the left, you can see the video of the worship in the alternative place in Lanut Sulaiman. It is owned by the Air Force of Indonesia National Army. So they have an alternative worship site there for 12 years. So next, we have inspiration for the research as the framework of our research. There are three. The first one is participatory music from Boger. She made a music that involved marginalized young people, and also the cultural pedagogy from Hikimudi that she engaged with people from many intra-faith identities, and also transmedia from my previous work in color reflection for the inclusions of the transgender people to music and body theater. So next to the next why the method that we use is art-based participatory action research. We use it because it enforces active participation, collaborations, and we also emphasize youth as the co-creator. And we also use the media for this research is like poetry and music video. So the poem is compressed title and the music video is titled Rasa Dunia dari Tuhan. So for this, there are 34 youths from the HKI Bandung Selatan, and we also invited two non-HKI students that we work this research from August 10 to September 9. There are 5 activities in total. We start to gather the participant from the pastor invitations. We do group discussion. And then we make poetry. Then we make music video, and in the end we make a talk show and music video screening with Halakoh Damai community. So from the first meeting, the discussion, at first the young people involved cannot talk at all about their experience and feelings regarding their church banning. So we change our approach to invite them to write the text about their feeling, hopes, and also the poems about their church. So there are four themes regarding from the discussion with the young people HKI Bandung Selatan. We talk about many feelings like sadness, disappointments, and there's also hopes, and also there is experiences with sacred space. Also, few of them also involved in the church advocacy efforts, and also they also give us feedback about the activity that is. They can finally express their repressed feelings, and also this was an enjoyable process. So from the collective sentiments of the Hakka Bandung Selatan community, we learn that the togetherness and the solidarity of our works, and also the spiritual context that we find the church symbol is not it is more than a physical structure. It is a shared space of belief. After we collected the text from the Hakka Bandung Selatan, we explored the text by using involved compassionate engagement with participant text. So we read the text one by one and revisit personal memories and shared experience of suffering. And also, after that, we express them from our own personal experience to become a poetry. So there are 3 persons involved in this. There are 2 researchers and 1 non-HKI member involved in this process. So this is the output of the poetry. So after the poetry have done, we also consulted to the HKI Bandung Selatan community about, is this poetry represent the community well, or is this represent your feeling and hopes for the church? And they said yes after 2 meetings. And after that, we continue to make music video creations. The music video, we start from making a lyric, and then we go to make a music, and then finally go to shooting in the in the temporary worship site in Lanut Sulaiman, and also in the abandoned church building of Hakai Bandung Selatan in Bale Endah, Kabupaten Bandung. So in the next slide, I will present to you the music video of our work.
Di hamparan bunga melati, ku lihat keberagaman yang mati. Aku tenggelam pelan hingga tanganmu mengambil alih. Oh Tuhan, kuatkanlah hamba-Mu dalam badai yang mengamuk. Biarkanlah kami terus menjadi cahaya dan garam dunia.
It seems that the music video is buffering. So thank you for watching like a half. Yeah. It seems that the music video is buffering, so you can watch the entire music video in YouTube and many streaming sites like Spotify or YouTube. The name of the music is Rasa Dunia dari Tuhan. from the next, we will continue from Ryan will continue the presentation. So okay, go on, Ryan.
Hello. So for the music analysis, we use analysis approach as our reference. And from that reference, we building a narrative for the analysis, which is to the next slide, 5 segments. So we analyze the effect of if each minute, and we divide it, including the first segment, or orientate the source of problem, which is the banning of the church, second, third, and fourth, like narrating the struggle of the HKI community, and the last, which is their resolution and their endurance in fighting this problem. Okay. After the analysis, we try to create a plot. Okay, next slide. Which is a plot of optimism. Using optimism as its main effect, we use the scale from 1 to 6, from very low optimism until peak optimism. And we found from the music video, the effect goes from low and very low optimism until it reached its peak in the fifth segment, which is the last segment of the music video. And after that, we showcase the music video. Okay, next slide. To in a Zoom meeting, and the participatories, which is the participation, which is from lecturer from UIN, we ourselves as the researchers, and a fellow member from HKI community, from young to the prize itself. Okay, from that showcase, we found that we get a feedback, so many feedback, but if we divide it to groups, there is an appreciation, hope, learning for our research, and there is challenge and strategies that we get for our research in the future. Okay, next. The discussion also have key findings, and you can read it from yourself, from the research that explores how art and dialogue empower HKI Bandung Selatan, until art serves as collective form of solidarity, uniting the community. But back again, from the analysis and the plot itself, why do we need to do that? Okay, next slide. So from the analysis, we found quite a disclosure, which is emotional and spiritual resilience in HKI Bandung Selatan. So they have this wall of doctrine, dogmatic experience, where there is one doctrine, which is being the light and salt of the world, making the HKI community keep solving. So there is problem, there is many things that they're struggling for them. Yeah, so many walls that they need to keep fighting, but they just keep the endurance even for 20 years until now. And it actually requests the conflict in HKI Bandung Selatan with the other Asian community. Okay, this actually alignment with research, like with the said before. And we found that it aligned with research, youth empowerment, and spiritual growth. Okay, next slide. So there we also found the role of art in advocacy, which is the duality role of art, the positive impact. Also, caution required and caution required, like the misinterpretation, or maybe many stereotypes. And the last is empowerment through music, of course. Okay, for the next is the challenge and limitation of advocacy, which is limited youth engagements and security concern. Limited youth, which is the community is main voice is from the adult until the young, the old people, and the security concern, which is if we do it offline, we're gonna have riot risk. So we do it online in Zoom, and there is the risk of miscommunication and risk of misinterpretation. Okay, let's go for the recommendation for future research. We need a more modern perspective, and of course, young engagement, addressing trauma for better communication, and art-based advocacy. Okay, we continue to the conclusion. So for the conclusion, there is a transformative power in art and its communication itself, and an artistic expression which can help self-vital advocacy tools reflecting the experiment and hopefully adult. And there is a spiritual silence, which we found in the analysis. And for future research, we hope that we can make a transition in researching in Indonesia so they can start to use art-based research, not only quantitative or qualitative. Okay, and that's for our presentation. Thank you for all your attention.
Thank you very much. Take a deep breath. You still have 2 minutes. If you
Wow.
want, you want to edit, or you just want to take it for more breathing.
Okay, okay. Maybe Mas Waka, we can go to the 5 segment before.
All right. Okay. Mhm.
So panelist analysis using more on auditory and visual effects. So we analyze each visual and auditory until the context in the lyrics, so that we can found that there is a segment in the music video, and there we can connect the dots of the effects and the context to create a narrative, which in the end also help us to find the disclosure of the effect of the doctrine in religion, and the effect itself that doctrine, we need a doctrine. There is a positive impact of religion. It's only not about the bad things, but it's also helping the community and the individuals, which is for me beautiful. Thank you, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Kakarian. And yeah, I remember that when you said about how poetry and music could become a medium for advocacy. And I now remember about Marshall McLuhan ever said that medium is the message. After we have the medium for the music and poetry, now we go to Kakalala, and she will share about another medium for advocacy. Lala will share her research on documentary film. So after we got that kind of advocacy, and she will introduce the idea of democratic consciousness through documentary film, one of them. Please, Lala, the stage is yours. Kakak salah share, kakak.
Okay, wait. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Take your time.
Mm,
I love this panel. It connects to each other. Don't you think so, Raka and Emma? Yeah, good. Mhm.
Sorry, gak bisa ya?
Huh? Do you need help do you need help to share your presentations?
Yes.
You could share it to me if you want to.
Oh,
And I will
tidak
share it.
bisa. Okay.
Where's your honest?
Hmm,
Oh, you could share it in chat.
okay.
Da-da-da-dang.
Okay. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You could share
Okay,
it in the chat, and I could share it for you.
okay, good. Afternoon, everyone. My name is Sikmul Bakarbisi. I am a study student at Kejamada University. Now here, to do a presentation. Today I am very excited to talk to you all about my presentation topic entitled Implementation of Documentary Film and Religion Moderation and Democracy Awareness.
I'm sorry, you that in my screen it's a Windows Explorer. So we have Ambon,
Windows.
AMPG, beasiswa CFD, and so on and so forth. So
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, it's okay. Take your time.
Okay. I look forward to sharing valuable insight and gaining and fruitful discussion with you all. Thank you for being here. The reason, background. The reason why I took this topic is because it's motivated by a very crucial problem
Sorry,
about
Lala. Sorry,
the.
I'm sorry. It's still Windows Explorer in my screen. Do others see that also as well? Yeah,
I don't
it's
have.
not on your PowerPoint.
Yeah, this is my PowerPoint.
Oh, you want to share it through chat Zoom, or you could send it to WA to me. I give you my number if you want to share it, so I could share it for you.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, maybe while you're preparing, but what if we move to Mbak Dian? So we spend more time. Yeah. Okay. So sorry, Mbak Dian. Are you ready, Mbak Dian?
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you,
it's
Mas
another
Abdi.
form. Yeah, it's another form of democracy, an art of architecture. Architecture actually. Yeah. So please, Mbak Dian, tell us more about your experience in this kind of architecture, please.
Okay, thank you, Mas Abdi. Good afternoon, everyone. You can hear my voice, yeah?
So good, clear.
Oh, okay. Good afternoon. Thank you for your time and attention. I'm Diana Fiatul Awalia from Sultan Fatah University. In recent years, the integration of ecological principles into architecture has gained significant attention. This study focuses on how incorporating this principle can foster sustainable environment and promote everyday democracy. The central question is how can architecture can integrate ecological principle, foster everyday democracy. The main objective of this research are twofold. First, to identify and analyze methods for integrating ecological principle in architecture, and second, to explore how these methods can support democratic values and practices in everyday life. To achieve these objectives, we employed a qualitative methodology. Data was collected through case studies of contemporary architectural projects that prioritize ecological sustainability and community participation. We conducted interviews with architects, urban planners, and community members, and we also observed and analyzed architectural plans and site visits. The theoretical framework of this study combines ecological design principles and democratic theory. Ecological design principle emphasize sustainability, resilience, and environmental stewardship. Democratic theory, drawing from participatory democracy, highlights the importance of creating spaces that facilitate active citizenship, inclusivity, and collective decision-making. Our findings indicate that integrating ecological principle into architecture contributes to everyday democracy by creating inclusive and participatory spaces. project that incorporate green infrastructure, renewable energy resources, and sustainable materials not only improve environmental quality, but also enhance community involvement and decision making. From some case studies in Jakarta, child-friendly integrated public spaces or RPTRA serve as key platform for promoting ecological awareness and civic engagement. These spaces are a result of collaborative efforts involving the government, educational institution, and corporation, significantly enhancing community involvement in environmental stewardship. In another example, the Old Stone House and National Park initiatives demonstrate how ecosystem management can improve community health while engaging diverse groups in ecological practices. This project show the permaculture practices foster social bonds and community participation. Three key design principles emerge from this research: enabling form, resilient form, and impelling form. Enabling form encourage design that facilitate community engagement, such as placing benches in central location. Resilient form focusing on design that adapt to ecological context and enhance sustainability. Lastly, impelling form creates environment that inspire joy and enrichment, fostering a sense of belonging and agency among residents. Our finding underscore the pivotal role of community participation in the success of green infrastructure initiatives. In Australia, community governance model have shown that engaging residents in managing green infrastructure leads to more sustainable outcomes and enhanced resilience. In Indonesia, stakeholder interviews highlight the importance of community involvement in natural resource management. For integration of ecological principles into urban governance is essential for fostering innovative and sustainable urban development. The incorporation of green and blue infrastructure into urban planning framework challenges outdated system and promote transdisciplinary approach that prioritize community input. Study shows that embedding this principle in urban planning enhance both environmental sustainability and overall quality of life for residents. Despite the benefits, there are challenges to equitable access and participation in these initiatives. Funding constraint and power imbalance can hinder effective implementation. To maximize the benefits, it is crucial to address these disparities and promote collaborative efforts among policymakers, architects, and communities. Ensuring all community members can engage with and benefit from these ecologically designed spaces is vital for their success and sustainability. In conclusion, integrating ecological principle in architecture enhance community engagement, environmental awareness, and social cohesion. Architecture that combines ecological and democratic values contributes to resilient and inclusive communities. By examining the intersection of ecology and democracy, the study offers insight for architects, urban planners, and policymakers aiming to create sustainable democratic spaces that improve the quality of life for all community members. Here is key reference from the paper for further reading. Thank you for your attention. I open for any question or discussion you may have. Thank you.
Wow, what a fast and furious presentations. You only take your 6 minutes. Oh, you're very generous. It's okay. We will discuss more about your topic and we try to engage with other team as well. Now, it's time to Mbak Lala. It's on spot. And again, yeah, Mbak Lala already sent me the presentation. I will try to share it. Wait a minute. Yeah, and now I am nervous. See. Wait a minute. Why is not adequate access? Okay. Sip. Can you see? Okay. Why is there is my Ah, my face there. Okay.
Okay, I'm
Okay, okay.
sorry for the trouble.
Please, Mbak Lala, the stage is yours.
Okay. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sikeng Clara Bakrimisi. I'm a student at Gajah University. Now here to do presentation. Today, I am very excited to talk to you all about my presentation topic and title, implementation documentary of implementation of documentary film and religion moderation and democracy awareness. Next. Okay, the reason why this topic is because it is motivated by a very crucial problem about the existence of Indonesian as a country that has a wealth of good diversity, ethnic, race, religion, and culture that live by side, but will become a conflict. The difference become an issues that has the potential to cause conflict when there are difference of opinion in diversity. So problem in intolerance are very easy to occur in Indonesian. Next slide. Which then conceptualize about how we manage tolerance itself, both in discourse and practice. And the practice main in this paper is performing art in documentary film. Documentary film is an attempt to retell an event or reality using fact and that. Next slide. The focus of my research is on how documentary film are used for religion moderation and democracy awareness that strongly influence people through experience, uh, especially since people have had very diverse experience regardless of the various thematic documentaries. Next slide. This is framework that I try to build in making this paper as in building documentary films and religion moderation and democracy awareness, understanding, experience, and knowledge are found. Then is combat and documentary film theory, this which is contextual, very relevant to the purpose and this research, including communication theory, cognitive theory, and critical theory. Next slide. The data collection method I used was, of course, a literature study and film content analysis based on a case study with the data analyst being the them research. Next slide. In this result and discussion is answer the first objective, namely what is the role of documentary film in providing information and evaluation about religion moderation. I get two rules, namely community education and discussion platform as well is increasing social awareness and critical messaging. Next slide. In the second result and discussion, it also answered the concept of documentary film producing critical thinking towards tolerance, adu, attitudes, and strengthening the democracy awareness in Indonesian. The first, encouraging discussion and reflection. The second, increasing media literacy. Okay, next slide. This is example of on Indonesian documentary film Cahaya dari Timur, released in 2014, telling the story in the conflict in Maluku, unit by football. I played the trailer for 1 minute for us to see together. Please allow the moderator to play the video. Yes. 1 minute. Please allow a moderator to play the video 1 minute.
Yeah, wait, I try to find the button for this kind of video. Wait,
Videonya.
there's no button. I'm sorry, I couldn't find the. It cannot play the video. Is it okay if we skip the, or or you want to find it through another link? You could share it to me, because yeah, it cannot play the video. Or is it okay if we pass the video, or what?
Udah kirim di WA.
Yeah, wait.
Bisa nggak ya?
Let's try to stop my sharing. Okay, I need to download it first. Or you could share it through there? No, you cannot. The video? No. Mbak Lala?
Ya.
Can you play the video from there? Because I need to download it first.
Oh, nggak bisa ya.
Because it's not attached.
Wait.
I try to play it from here. This one.
Karena beta malu. Bukan bule. Bukan puasa. Bukan Kristen. Bukan Islam. Jak, sesapa? Beta Maluku. Saleh. Você sapa? Beta Maluku kak? Pelu, Kasim, Akbar. Sesapa? Beta Maluku. Beta tanya kamu siapa? Kamu jawab apa? Beta Maluku. Motivasi tinggi. Iya. Blok Timur Indonesia. Saya Timur. Beta Maluku. 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 Maluku.
Okay.
Okay. Next. Well,
Minute.
search trouble.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Next. Okay. Another example in the Indonesian documentary film, Selaras, which was released in 2021. The film explore how different ethnic, religion, and culture in Indonesian can peacefully and on the importance of intercultural tolerance. Next, for example, of film from other country include Egypt, the Square, which was released 2013. The struggle of the Egyptian people for democracy, right, freedom of speech, and justice. Activists in the film strive to build a more democratic society where all voice and value. Okay, the conclusion. I came to R. Firstly, documentary film can help reduce extreme and increase interfaith understanding. This show that visual media has great potential in shaping tolerant attitude in a pluralist society. Secondly, documentary film can encourage individual to be more critical of the exciting system and play an active role in fighting for everyone rights. This confirm that media is not only a source of entertainment but also a significant tool of social change. Thus, a suggestion I can give our Indonesian filmmaker can make more documentary that link religion, moderation, and democracy awareness in Indonesian. I can even be developed into a future film or cinema. Next, here are some of the reference I use. Next. This is my presentation. I return to into the moderator. Thank you. I'm so sorry to trouble.
Thank you very much for your presentations. And wait it. Yeah. And we'll be back together. Now we have time for the discussions. So I will open to the floor for the discussion and the questions. If you are not asking a questions, I will ask you one by one for you the questions. So please. So okay, I will try to ask.
Me?
Okay, please, Malala.
I have one question for Miss Emma. How can the result of this research be used to inform art and activism practice?
So can you say a bit more?
How can the result in this research be used to inform art and activism practice?
Yeah. So I guess what I wanted to share today was more I wanted to share the different positions from dance research and the different kinds of ways embodiment takes up space and how that raises questions. So the practice itself raises questions about what might be democratic. So the contribution that I'm trying to kind of offer is to challenge our way of thinking about democracy through examples from dance. So it's not, what I share today is not about activism so much, But the bigger piece of research that I'm doing around Omerta movement that I didn't present today is about movement as dialogue. So how does this Omerta movement approach function as an approach to dialogue, which people from different backgrounds can come together to explore? So through the interviews, I'm trying to understand the practices, the ideas, and also the practices of dialogue through movement. So that's a bigger piece of research that I'm not finished yet. So then I can come back and answer your question maybe next year.
Yeah, we will wait for the result of the research, and then in the next year. And I hope you give a presentation again in this year, in the 7th year in Yogyakarta, maybe. So yeah, Mbak Raka, you want to give a comment from your smile? I know you want to give a comment.
All right, so I'd like to give a comment to Emma. Really, your work really lights a hope in my work, especially in the artwork, in my artistry work. The consensus and also the notion of the choreographer versus facilitator is what is what become it is something that become hegemonic in the choreographic landscape in Indonesia, where most of the dance performance is made by the single minds of the choreographer. But instead, we also need to look for other way of creation, like having consensus as part of the movement making and also the arts making in the progress. So your work somehow sparks something in me that I have same interest about it. So I hope that you can continue on this, and as I will continue to follow up your research, because this is also crucial for my current work that involve consensus and also sharing with between group, especially in the decision making of the arts in the consensus way of making. So it will be it becomes an inspiration for me. So I appreciate your presentations and your work. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's good to hear that it would be useful. And I was really interested listening to everybody today coming from a dance research background, because there's a whole field of research, like a methodology, which is about practice as research. So not only qualitative or art-based, but actually the practice is the research. And then I wanted to understand from each of you, what is it from actually practicing making the music video or the documentary or architecture? What happened when you were in the practice? Were there any surprises? Did the art making tell you something new or give you a new insight? And the reason I ask is sometimes, we think about the art, how we can use it to do something else. But sometimes the art itself tells us something, So I'm curious about that.
Who
For
wants
all
to
of
go, wants to go first? Mas Raka? Mas Rian?
I think
Oh.
Rian has something to talk about this.
Okay,
Please, Mas Rian.
I mean, it's interesting to say that art is also a form of communication. Even it's so sublime that when we just practice the doing the consensus between the subject and we as the researchers, and we just go in. There is no position. We are just one, and I think art also helps like unconsciously like getting us one in one consciousness. And it's really unique that when we already get through that experience and we analyze that sublime experience, we always get something new, like our disclosure in the research before. But I mean, if we do it again, it will, we will get another disclosure, and that keeps going. That's what makes art beautiful. Like when we keep on doing that passionate thing, we just always get something. If we always have the will to reflect on it.
What about you, Mbak Dian? I mean, like an architecture, we know about the, yeah, we know about architecture usually known as, Romomangun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Romangun
Romangun
usually.
is an architect that's the way to build something is actually is a process and a process as well as the results. So he tried to the the process of the building something is actually the results of something. So
Yeah,
there
yeah.
is no plans, fixed plan. There is always adaptation, negotiation, and many more. And
Yeah,
you could
yeah,
share us
yeah.
more about this issue and this experience from the
Oh, yeah.
architecture. Yeah.
Thank you, Mas Abdi, for the clue. Thank you, Emma, for the question. Actually, we have Romo Mangun as our role model, yeah, and he is legend and rare architect, I think, and also Prof. Eko Budiarjo, if we remember from Undip, if Pak Eko Budiarjo concern on the lingkungan, environment, ekologi, dan Romo Mangun in ecology and the society. That's the role model that we have to look at, yeah. Uh, uh, in the practice, architecture practical, actually we should make approach for interdisciplinary research, planning and action, but with our silo habit ya in Indonesia with their ego sektoral kepentingan interest, everybody not get the one titik temu, so we get ke coherent and comprehensive planning and research, and in the reality we uh, we also found that misalnya nih naskah akademik brief ya, brief for policy brief for the plan, urban and etc. It actually should be sounding to the community, but in the practice, the stakeholders we know with their interest only invite their underbow bayangan shadows organization that will say yes to their plan and not real people like Roma Mangun give example to us. Maybe we get the bottlenecks on the community participation and community engagement. I like that, and this is our homework, big homework. Gitu, Miss Emma.
So yeah, Romangun is like Pak Prapto but in
Ya,
architecture.
Pak Prapto, iya, iya.
Yeah, Pak
Iya.
Prapto, yeah, Prapto Suprapto in architecture. So the Romangun, he has an idea like how to say that the process of construction is the construction itself, and we develop from
I
there.
see.
He
Yeah,
tried to sense not only the materials but also the workers. So I remember when he built a building in Klaten. Actually, the building is finished in 2 weeks. But Romangun knows that during the process, the wife of the construction worker isn't pregnant, 8 months,
Oh, wow.
and he knows that if the construction finished, he got no money, so he tried to respond to that and try to extend the idea of the building until the wife give birth, deliver the birth, something like that. Yeah, so interesting to me. So how
Wow,
the
that's your
building,
story and
yeah, the building of
inspiring,
Home
yeah.
is actually the process itself. He always trying to,
Mhm.
yeah, the fun is the process, not the result. The result is just is the bonus, as he said like that. So
Okay.
interesting to us. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mbak Lala, you found something when you research about the film documentary, that the process, what the process of the your research and do the documentary film. What do you think about that?
Mas, saya tidak dengar tadi apa, Mas?
About this kind of, I mean, the process as not only the result of something, but during the you make some you make or research about the documentary film, and how the process is helps you to do the process helps you find something else, I mean, like,
Um,
yeah, how much the process itself rather than the results.
Oke, saya ngomong dengan bahasa Inggris, dengan bahasa Inggris saja ya Mas ya. Jadi tuh awalnya tuh soal eh, bicara soal soal kesadaran demokrasi dan apa kesadaran film dokumenter dalam moderasi beragama dan juga kesadaran demokrasi. Sebenarnya sangat sedikit sekali kita perfilman Indonesia mengkaji soal film-film dokumenter yang sebenarnya dia mengangkat moderasi beragama dan juga kesadaran demokrasi. Saya saya mencari beberapa sumber dan sangat minimum, dan yang saya dapatkan cuma misalnya tadi Cahaya dari Timur, itu pun juga film-film dari Indonesia bagian timur, ada beberapa juga yang saya dapat juga. Terus kemudian saya bandingkan juga dengan beberapa film di luar negeri, misalnya tadi The Act of Killing juga sebenarnya, tapi itu film Indonesia yang disutradarai oleh orang luar, dan itu menjadi pelajaran juga untuk kita semua, bahwa untuk perfilman Indonesia dan juga untuk para kita peneliti, bahwa sebenarnya film-film di Indonesia, film-film dokumenter sedikit mengangkat soal moderasi beragama, kesadaran demokrasi itu sangat minimal. Akhirnya apa? Eh, kita terbatas dalam me- apa menemukan contoh-contoh, dan itu misalnya contoh ada generasi-generasi kita sebelumnya, mereka sangat eh, bahkan tidak tahu apa itu film dokumenter dan apa itu moderasi beragama yang ditunjukkan oleh pertunjukan yang ditampilkan oleh pertunjukan seni, yaitu dalam film dokumenter itu sendiri. Dan em, solusi juga dan yang sudah saya sampaikan di di kesimpulan dan juga saran, bahwa em, menjadi tanggung jawab kita semua, bahkan ICIR maupun IKN, untuk bagaimana membagikan bagaimana dapat memberikan satu solusi besar untuk perfilman Indonesia. Banyak sekali sebenarnya, ada pengalaman-pengalaman yang tadi saya sampaikan di teori, ada pengalaman, ada juga pemahaman, ada juga pengetahuan yang sebenarnya banyak di kalangan masyarakat, dan itu belum digali oleh oleh misalnya sutradara-sutradara, dan itu diangkat menjadi film gitu kan. Cuman terlalu banyak film percintaan Indonesia. Kalau bicara soal perfilman Indonesia, cinta-cintaan, dan juga ada banyak film-film horor dan segala macam. Tapi pentingnya untuk ke Indonesia adalah bagaimana film-film dokumenter yang sampai di pelosok-pelosok timur Indonesia itu diangkat gitu. Itu menjadi pelajaran untuk generasi-generasi kita, generasi-generasi sebelum. Saya sebenarnya memilih memilih topik ini karena karena sebelum sebelum memilih sebelum adanya pembukaan konferensi nasional internasional ini, saya ada nonton beberapa film dokumenter, dan itu sangat bagus sekali untuk kemajuan untuk apa Indonesia dalam konteks moderasi beragama dan juga kesadaran demokrasi. Entah itu terlepas dari topik misalnya perfilman Indonesia mau bikin moderasi beragama sendiri, kesadaran demokrasinya sendiri bebas. Yang penting poin-poin itu diangkat menjadi sebuah nilai itu, nilai-nilai biologis Indonesia. Mungkin itu yang bisa saya sampaikan Mas Abi. Terima kasih.
Okay, many thanks. So she found when doing her research about the film, she found that Indonesia is full of the film about drama, about love or something, but we lack the story about ourselves, about our diversity. Most of the story is related not in the Indonesia or west part of Indonesia, not from the outer side, from the very something like that. So yeah, she found that the commentary film is a good medium to deliver this message. So yeah, again, we have this kind of message. And the medium is important. So the medium is the message, actually. So actually, I want to ask all of you, because it's interesting. The theme in our theme in the 6th year is actually performing democracy. It's actually why, I mean, like, do you think that do you think the way our democracy perform today, through voting, through whatever, through the general election and whatever it is, through demonstration, do you think we lack something? Do you think that we need to find another form of democracy, another form to perform our voices? And do you think that the medium that you research now is suitable for this kind of, the way to act, to perform this democracy? And how do you think, like, you could collaborate with to each other? So I'm interested because when you said, Emma said about the public space, the importance of public space to become a place to perform, and if we correlate with Mas Raka experience during the conflict, can we do like this kind of performance about the sensitive issue in public space, for example? If that's so, could Mbak Dian help us to give what kind of architectural design for this kind of public space that allow us to perform this collaboration? Yeah, I wonder about this, really.
All right, thank you. That is an interesting question because the security issue become one of our concerns. So why we choose online due to the security? Yeah, because of the sensitivity of the issue. So we try to find an alternative, and we narrow down the performance from offline on-site performance into an online performance, and it become more narrow again to communicate the feeling of the HKI Bandung Selatan um, to the community of Halakoh Damai and their friends around the community around the Halakoh Damai. So it is the only best way for that time for us to communicate our arts to them. So uh, what we have learned about this is that the nature of the church banning has a lot of traumatic impact for the young people, especially as they cannot really talk about it. So as they keep it for themselves, so it becomes a best option to engage young people to talk about their own trauma, their own feelings, and convey it to in the form of music. So after the discussion, we also discussed about how if we publish the music online. So we have published it on many streaming platforms like Spotify, YouTube, and any others. And then, yeah. So after that, after the meeting with Halako Damai, I think it becomes strategic because after that, many of friends like the Halako Damai and youth youth interfaith peace community and also peace Gen also made a follow-up activity. Okay, maybe Indah can explain this. Okay, Indah, how what did you do after the showcase of the music video?
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mas Raka. After completing the research, I organized a workshop and in invite women fit builders to join as a follow-up action. I focus on young people in creative initiatives, such and development and developing a board game with peace generation called Berani Beda, which promotes the values of diversity and tolerance. Through this educational to youth can spread positive message about respecting difference and raise awareness about the importance of protecting religious freedom. The board games serve an interactive way to strengthen peace building values.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mas Raka.
Yeah. So we after that the young people continue to continue our movement in terms of board game, and and also also continue to further advocate for the church banning. So yeah, that's all from us. Thank you.
So what about you, Emma? Do you think that
Yeah.
this kind of station, I mean, like this kind of issue, this sensitive issue, I mean, like, yeah, through dance and
I think, there's so many layers to your question. So one thing that comes to mind is one of the people we interviewed said he was working with Procto on an event, and it was in a kind of newly discovered religious site. I don't remember the details, but Procto suddenly became very excited and wanted to have an interreligious activity there. And he was inviting artists of all different religions, musicians to come and practice in this site. And this site was found within a university space. So then the people in charge were worrying, okay, all about this issue. And is this
yeah.
ritual? Is this shaman? Is this like what kind of activity is this? But then when Prapto framed it as this is art practice, this became acceptable. So I think using the frame of art is useful because maybe it's less threatening. It's just we're coming together to explore art. It's not to make a political statement. But at the same time, it does. So yeah, that's one way is how you frame the activity. I think with Prapto, my understanding was that, well, at least he told me that it was always about peace and not conflict. So he would try to create an atmosphere where everybody can be together. So, of course, say in a workshop where there's people of different cultures, there can be clashes of expectation. But his aim was always to promote peaceful exchange and understanding, rather than conflict, although it exists, but we need to find a way to work together. And I think when you talked about, in the political scene to have a voice, I think it is some way to do it. Like even I was reading about in Brazil, one means of protest people have had in the pandemic, they started banging pots, making noise in their houses, and everybody doing it at the same time as a way to state we don't agree with something happening politically. So you can use sound, bodies, voice in different ways, and space and film. These are all really important ways in which different voices can be heard, I think.
yeah, interesting experience. Yeah, we don't do protests like that during the COVID, yeah. Indonesia, we just silent and just go to warung and eat, not that by the sound and something like that. We prefer another democracy. So, Mbak Dian, what do you think about that? This kind of performing democracy.
Actually, I agree with your idea, Mas Abdi, to create a public space that effectively enhance arts performance. Yeah, maybe we use involve the detail collaborative process with everyone here, and also maybe if you have some best practice in some places, you can give us the clue. So maybe we should visit there to get the inspiration. Yeah, it take a long process as Pak Romo Mangun says. Yeah, and we maybe get need the iteration. Uh, we build and revise, build and revise. But if we have one vision to go the inclusive performing stage for all, for the better city, I think we will get better for our soul and society.
Okay, thank you for everyone. Now, in my hour is 8:31. So in here in Ambon. So many thanks for your contributions. I'm happy for this panel. It's very enlightened me and give. I don't know. I feel like I give so much today, and I write so much about this today. Now I give so many. And then many thanks to Emma, Mas Raka, Mas Rian, Mbak Indah, Mbak Dian, Mbak Lala, Mbak Puja also, Mbak Jim. Welcome, Mbak Jim, in the last part. And then Mas Dayang, or who Dayang? Dayang is actually a spirit in Indonesia, means Dayang, yeah. And then thank you very much. Tetap sehat-sehat. And I encourage you to share each other works, to collaborate, to connect to each other. And if you have some things to share it with, just you know the manual, you have the email and so on and so forth, and you contact it. Okay, many thanks everyone. See you and happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday.
Happy
Thank you
Wednesday.
very much.
Thanks,
Thank
Abdi.
you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.